Hi, this is Day to Day with St. Joseph, and it's Down to Earth. That's what we're going to do today on Wednesday, the 14th of April. We're going to talk about the Down to Earth St. Joseph. So what inspires it is that we've had maybe too lofty a look at Joseph last month, and it's time to kind of balance things, okay? What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the fact that when we did the consecration of St. Joseph, the author, Father Galloway, with his writings and his other sources, is trying to just give you just a really strong and high regard for St. Joseph. So much so that he said, Joseph most admirable, Joseph most just, Joseph most chaste, and then mirror of patience and terror of demons, and he had all these terrific titles, and and responsibilities, and all that. It's true, but when you're saying most, best, sometimes you forget the human side, the earthy side of the saint. That there's more to the saint too than all this great stuff. That the saint struggled like you and I. That the saint had problems. The saint had difficulties. The saint went through trials. Okay, and that our life and their life can connect. If you put Saint Joseph way too high on a pedestal, and I think the book could have, then it might be saying, well, I'll never get there. It's like St. Teresa of Avila. She wrote this story about the various levels of holiness. And she's a mystic, she's a contemplative. And I just read her works, but I thought, I can't imitate her. She's just in the stratosphere of holiness. And I need something a little more earthy. Well, I think Joseph is an earthy saint. And the consecration gave us all the great titles and all the wonderful things about him, but I wanted to make sure, too, that you could relate to him as an everyday person. Okay? That's the point I'm trying to make in this particular tape on the 14th of April. We'd like you to know that he lived a kind of an ordinary life, raising Jesus, but just a day-to-day life, and sweating, working, and living under the Roman oppression. The Roman Empire is just running everything. He was fearful of it. Oh, he had trust in God, that God will provide and God will watch over his people, but he also knew a lot of people that have been terrified of the Romans. Romans will come in and take people away, take possessions away, ruin your life, crucify people. The Romans had no regard really for God. They thought their own emperor was a god, and so everything about them was unclean. So Joseph had to deal with that all the time. That was uncomfortable. Okay, there are some lines on Joseph's face that I don't see in that picture, and there had to be a lot of lines of anxiety and concern, and and just things that happened that just were difficult to deal with. We don't hear that in that book, okay, on the consecration of St. Joseph, and it's all right, okay. I know that there are books on saints too, like especially from TAN publications, where they just have a very, very lofty, almost perfect image of the saint, and I understand what they're trying to do, and of course the saints are like in the Hall of Fame, but sometimes it's good to know if someone's in the Hall of Fame that you can follow that path of that person. It's not like crazy to think that your life too can be holy. But it doesn't have to be something that just seems to be utterly impossible, even with God's grace, utterly impossible. Well, Joseph, I just see him as a good man, as a man that was a friend to people, a man that would stop and just say, "Hey, what can I do for you?" You know. And these weren't like, amazing healings or something he was doing. It was just like, "Hey, what can I do for you?" And I think sometimes we have to understand that Joseph is an earthy saint too. Okay, he's that kind of a person. There's something extraordinary in his life, but if we don't understand him as down to earth, then we may not really want to partner with Joseph. Now, saying that, Saint Teresa of Avila, the one that I can't identify with, she said that Joseph was her hero. Teresa, I'm trying to make a point here that Joseph is down to the common person, and you're saying that you thought he was the best for you. Aye. Well, what did you say? In your book, in your life, you wrote, "I took St. Joseph as my advocate and protector and recommended myself very earnestly to him. He came to my help in my most visible manner. The loving Father of my soul, this beloved protector." Oh, here, okay, listen to this. "Hastened to pull me out of the state in which my body was languishing, just as he snatched me away from the greater dangers of another nature, which were jeopardizing my honor and my eternal salvation." I wonder what she's getting at. But she was languishing. She was having difficulty. And Joseph came. So maybe Joseph understands people and their problems, huh? Even the most brilliant of people have problems. So Joseph came in. So I like that. I like that image that she gave. Thank you, Teresa of Avila. But down to earth Joseph is what I'm pointing at here. I was having a talk here in the house, and a lot of things about Joseph is it's speculation or it's a guess. It's understanding other things and then putting it into Joseph's life, but the fact is that there wasn't a lot written about him. Okay, there was something that was called the apocryphal book called Saint Joseph, and it has a lot of crazy stuff in it. So you realize that stuff way back, we have legends or just wild speculations. It says in that record, what should we say, that story, that he lived to have 111, and that he died on the 20th of July, 18 AD. All right, well, nobody else really agrees with that, but that apocryphal, legendary kind of writing. Okay, well, no way he lived 111 years. And if he was 111 and he died in 18 AD, 18 less 111, I don't know. There's no way he's in his 90s with a young Jesus in his life. I like this picture. He's not an old man. And about a month ago, I was going through how he was not an old man. But you look at this particular saint, and the fact that he's kind of unrecognized for a long time helps his reputation for being an earthy guy, because people don't write a lot about people that are just ordinary people. So it's like television shows are never about some ordinary life, ordinary person, ordinary dad with ordinary kids. It's always about some weird thing, some odd thing, some wild thing, right? But it took until the 1200s, 1300s, 1400s for saints and then popes to recognize the value of St. Joseph. It took really till Sixtus IV in the 1400s, that's the 15th century, to put St. Joseph even in the list, the litany of saints. I recognize him as a saint. And litany of saints, so wait a minute, it was 1726 that Benedict the 13th put him on the Litany of Saints. So it took until the 18th century to get him into the Litany of Saints. Whoa, that's not good. Okay. Only recently was he put into the Blessed Be God prayers that we use at benediction with the Eucharist. I realized that he wasn't on the list till really recently. So Saint Joseph, I kind of think that helps my point with you. You're kind of left out because you're a little ordinary, not as extraordinary to some people for a long time. And that helps my cause with you. You are the saint for the ordinary guy. And I put myself in that category. And that's what I like about you, Joseph, is we can just live day to day, have a daily walk with the Lord, and have you, invited into a part of that to pitch in on what you think we might need. You advise Jesus, you're going to advise us, whatever way the Lord allows.